Hey there folks, this is Ryan from ORS Snowshoes Direct here in Vermont. Today we're at our warehouse and I'm going to walk you through our Go Anywhere All-Terrain category of snowshoes. These are the snowshoes that we have determined to be appropriate for the type of snowshoer who wants to go anywhere and come across any terrain. With the exception, I should say, of, the most extreme. That's really expedition and backcountry. Pretty much go anywhere. And I mean, you could take these on those expeditions as well. They're that good. Let's walk you through them. Now, we are in a warehouse. It's not the best setting. We should be out in the woods here, but, we are in the warehouse, so I apologize for all the boxes. That's why I put my, my good friend Robert the Plant here to kind of lighten things up a little bit. Alright, well, enough about that. Let's go through the line, shall we? Let's start out with Tubbs. Tubbs snowshoes. They used to be made in Vermont, right in Stowe, about 20 minutes away from here. Unfortunately, they are no longer made here in Vermont. But they're still excellent snowshoes. The brand has always been high quality, and we're still happy to carry them. And we have two models here. We have the Wilderness and the Journey. And we have a men's Wilderness and we have a women's Journey. Both of these are available in men's and women's and in multiple sizes. You determine your size by your weight, and I should say how much weight you're going to be carrying as well. Add it all up and then say, okay, this is where I need to be. The women's models tend to have more of a taper in the tail to make walking a little bit easier. Women's gait's a little bit different. And the bindings generally will accommodate a smaller boot, whereas the men's are a little bigger to accommodate a larger boot. Otherwise, the features are the same. The usage is the same. So let's look at these two side by side. A couple of similarities. The frame, they both have what's called a fit step frame. It's an aluminum frame with decking material on there. And the fit step, the tail is kind of bent upward a little bit. And it actually allows the shoe to kind of roll a little bit better when you're on packed snow. That's really the idea there. So both of these have that in this category. These are going to work great in deep snow, but if you get on some packed snow, as you very well might, that feature is going to come in kind of handy. They also have climbing bars, which you pop up if you are doing an extended uphill climb. So you're going up, 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 up. That gives your heel a place to land. It's going to reduce fatigue on your calves and as well put more pressure on the shoe. It's more like walking upstairs as opposed to walking up a ramp, if you think of it that way. It's a nice feature if you're doing an extended uphill. 20 or 30 minutes, an hour straight uphill. Really makes a difference. So they both have that in common, and they both have similar bindings. 180 binding, this is a Pro, and this is a Tour. Really similar in their function, but the Pro has some padding on the inside, and the control wings come back a little bit further, and they're a little stiffer, so you get a little more support in the boot. Again, when you're looking at these two shoes, the Wilderness is really more, I think, further into the deeper reaches of the category, where here you're a little more on recreational land. So what also separates these two would be traction. If you look at here, the Wilderness has extra traction components, but otherwise they are pretty close. But a little more traction for maybe slightly steeper, deeper terrain. So really, the binding is what sells this shoe. People love this 180 binding. It's that simple. You step in, and you're in, and you're out. You make this heel adjustment once for the boots you're going to be wearing. That never has to change as long as you wear the same boots. So every time, it's just simply in and out, just like that. So it's a really, really easy to use binding. People love it. So there again, the Wilderness and the Journey. This is the women's, this is the men's. They're available both in men's and women's models. Okay, moving on to the Tubbs Flex NRG. So here we had your traditional frame and decking material snowshoe. Well, Tubbs changed or made a new category called the Flex, and this is a molded shoe, and it's really, really flexible. It flexes in all sorts of different ways. Plenty of traction on there, and has the 180 Pro binding that we saw on the Wilderness model. The frame is totally different. This is really more intended for packed snow, maybe icy conditions, where flotation isn't necessarily your #1 priority. So they only make this in one size, because when you're on packed snow, you don't need a bigger frame for flotation. This would certainly work for a lighter weight person. It's a big enough frame for someone who's pretty lightweight. But if you're a heavier person, it wouldn't work as a deep snow shoe. But certainly on packed snow, it's great. And it's good because it's so flexible. The tail flexes. When you take a step, you know, the tail just flexes and you roll into it. You don't get any heel strike. It really reduces fatigue on your aching bones. And it even has a really soft padded feature here for your heel to land on. I mean, this is a comfortable shoe. It's really, really crazy. If you walk on a packed surface with this shoe, you would not believe the difference as opposed to a rigid frame shoe. Really, really nice. Again, though, you know, nice 180 binding with lots of support and plenty of traction. So here's a really, really good shoe for recreational use or even, you know, more extreme use, but on hard pack, icy stuff, windswept mountain tops, that kind of thing. All right, now we're going to go into Atlas snowshoes. We have one model in this category. This is the 11. This is the Elektra 1127, I think. Available in 2 sizes for women and also for men. It's just straight up 11 series for men. And this binding, or this shoe, is an aluminum frame, good old decking material strapped around it, so more of a traditional design, but it has the climbing bar. Lots and lots of traction. I mean, look at all that traction. You're not going to slip. And they call this the Wrap Plus binding. It's a really nice binding, actually. You open it up, you slide your foot in there, you grab this loop and you pull it, and it's going to cinch up around your toe. You got a heel strap adjustment as well. Nice padding on the inside. So very comfortable, very supportive binding. Nice lightweight shoe. And big difference between Atlas and Tubbs, and I didn't mention this. Let's go back to Tubbs for a second. Their toe cord. The binding is attached to the shoe, basically pivoting on either pins or sort of a rod. So when you take a step, the tail of the shoe drops, the snow will shed off the back with every single step. Atlas, on the other hand, the binding is more connected with these bands, and it is angled a bit, so when you take a step it does angle a bit so some snow will shed off, but it doesn't swing freely. They like the idea of a suspended binding, so that the binding can just move in any direction it needs to. You know, if you're walking on uneven terrain, your foot can kind of land in a natural position while the shoe can be angled, because you have all that articulation. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's pretty cool. The one thing about this design, however, is it can flip some snow on the back of your coat. So, you know, you kind of have to decide, all right, well, I don't care. I've got a very good waterproof coat. I don't mind a little bit of snow on the back of my coat. But I like that, you know, really that articulation is what sells this shoe. And Atlas really believes in that design, and you'll see it on all their shoes. So there it is, a spring-loaded binding. Moving on down the line. We've got this side of the lineup is all U.S. made. All right, so let's look at some U.S. made shoes. You know, that's a really good reason to look at these shoes. And I mean, we'll start with MSR, which I think are probably the best snowshoes made in the U.S. today, maybe in the world. I mean, MSR is really, really great. These guys are really focused on quality and you know, technical features. We got the Lightning, and we have the I should say the Lightning Axis, it's called, and the Evo Tour. Now at a glance you'll notice the bindings look very similar, and they are, but the frame's a lot different. Let's actually start with the Evo Tour, because this is really the original MSR type of shoe. It was a molded shoe, plastic. You know, very, very durable, flexible, can kind of vary, you know, twist to accommodate the varying terrain. And look at all that traction. Crazy! Woo! You can walk on a ceiling. You can stick it onto the top of a icy rooftop and not fall off. Really, really, you know, focus on traction and durability. Modular type of shoe. What does that mean? That means you can add a flotation tail to the back. Meaning, this is only available in one size, but if you're heavier or if you're in deeper snow and you want more flotation, you simply add this tail onto the back end of it. And that increases the length of the shoe for better flotation. Pretty neat design. When you don't need that extra flotation, you take the tail off, and you got a shoe that's a little bit easier to walk in. The Lightning Axis, totally different frame, but traction, traction, traction. Look at that. The frame itself is traction. These guys are all about traction. They don't want you slipping. But this design is much, much lighter weight. And, you know, a little more quiet on packed snow than this one would be, because it's sort of a softer decking material. Otherwise, they both have the climbing bar, and they both have what's called the Speed Lock binding. Speed Lock, really, really neat binding from Tubbs, or from MSR this year. Came out last year, I should say. You make this toe strap adjustment once for your boot, And you can look at our product page for more details on that. But once that is set, this kind of stays fixed. You slide your foot in, it's kind of at an angle, so your foot comes at an angle, you twist it to center, and it's pretty much engaged, and then you throw the heel strap. This strap, by the way, is optional. This is an instep strap. You can take it off if you don't feel you need it. It's there in case you feel you do, but if you don't, you take it off, and it slips out of these little hooks here, and then you only have the one toe strap and the heel strap to worry about. The only difference between the two on the Lightning Axis, it has an extra feature, this little pull tab here. When you lift this up, it frees the binding and allows it to move actually in clockwise or counterclockwise in relation to the frame itself, and that is to adjust for, say, an uneven gait. You know, if you're a little pigeon-toed or duck-footed, pronated or supinated maybe, you can adjust the shoe so that the shoes will stay in a straight line and not bang together. So that's kind of a really unique feature for the MSR shoe. Now, why would you pick one over the other? Well, these are a little bit less expensive. They're really good, utilitarian, they work great. Here you got a lighter weight shoe, a little bit quieter, and available in different sizes and men's and women's. But don't worry, if you like that whole modular tail feature, they've designed a modular tail as well that attaches to the back of the shoe, and it gives you that extra flotation. So not only do you have the ability to choose a different size based on your weight, you can pick a size maybe on the lighter end of that scale, so you have better maneuverability, and then you can add the tail for the deeper snow when you need it. Alright, so there you go, Lightning Axis and the Evo Tour from MSR. Now quickly we'll go over to two more snowshoes. We got the Crescent Moon here, the Gold 13. This is made in Boulder, Colorado. Really, really great company. They're really focused on being environmentally friendly. Really, really high quality stuff. We're very proud to carry these shoes. This is a Gold 13 for women. There's also a 9 and a 10 for men, two different sizes to choose from. You know, you look at this shoe, it's very, very tapered, really easy to walk in, the tails don't bang together, and this is called the SPL Gold Binding. It's really, really soft but durable material. One pull on this strap right here, the whole binding will tighten, and it's very, very, very comfortable. And it has this fixed toe cord, so the binding is attached to this band here. It does drop a little bit, but it also has, because it's a band, nice articulation, a lot like an Atlas does. So, really, really nice US-made snowshoe. Very, very comfortable. There is also a ratcheting feature. You can kind of pre-adjust that, and then once that's adjusted, you kind of leave it alone, and then this one single pull loop is all you need to worry about. We really like these shoes. Crescent Moon. This is a Gold 13 for women. Again, there's a 9 and a 10 for men. And finally, we have TSL, made here in Vermont. And more of a traditional looking shoe, certainly. Aluminum frame, good old decking material. And this binding's got a lot of features. It's got kind of a ratcheting snowboard style buckle. You can adjust the heel yoke here. There's a climbing bar as well that can be spun 180 degrees, so you can spin it when you need it, move it out of the way when you don't. Otherwise, plenty of traction there, and a rotating toe cord. So take a step, snow falls off the back. Good stuff. So there it is. A quick overview of the shoes in our Go Anywhere all-terrain category. Hopefully that'll help kind of steer you in one direction. You can certainly go to the product page for each of these shoes to get a lot more information. So thanks again for watching. My name is Ryan from ORS Snowshoes Direct.com. Thanks.